Hello, Pastor Joel here from Chico First. And how many of us have just blindly clicked the box that says, I have read and accept the terms and conditions? You see, every so often something on my phone will be updated and it will ask me if I reaffirm my commitment to their terms and conditions. Except, like most sane people, I have no time whatsoever to read through that giant amount of text. I just hit accept so I can keep on doing my own thing. And my guess is that no one reads those terms and conditions. Probably by now, the Apple Corporation has power of attorney over me. Except I probably wouldn't know it because I just hit accept without ever reading the agreement. And what we see in God is that He completely and He is wonderfully holy. And as Israel is traveling through the wilderness, we see God providing for them. And God instructs Moses at one point to strike a rock for water in Exodus 17. And then later in Exodus 20, Moses is told to speak to the rock instead of striking it. And what we see here in Exodus 20 is that Moses doesn't follow the terms and conditions. He struck the rock. And what was the result? Well, he wasn't allowed to enter into the promised land. And that penalty sounds devastating until we again consider the awe-inspiring character of God, a God who offers grace yet still demands obedience from His followers, especially for those He uses and calls as His leaders. C.S. Lewis once wrote that when we stand before God, there are only two kinds of people in the world. There is one who humbly say to God, "Thy will be done," and those who proudly say, "My will be done." And in that moment of his life here for Moses, he didn't listen to God. And there are going to be times when we do the same thing. And it's easy for us to drift into selfishness, isn't it? All of us are prone to moments of selfishness and weakness. And we see that Moses' way of doing things didn't result in immediate failure. He actually was successful. Water really did come out of the rock. His consequences, though, lay ahead of him. And I think what this means is there are going to be times in our lives when we are operating outside of the boundaries of God's character and things are going to be just going fine. And people may even speak well of us, but inside we're going to be sickly and selfish, the consequences of which will eventually leave us dry and empty. You see, no one drifts toward holiness. All of us on our own drift toward the center, drift towards self. And this is why we need the gospel. The cross shatters our illusions of greatness. It reveals to us the ugliness of our deepest depravity. But when the cross shatters our wrong self-image, it replaces it with the image of Jesus. In Jesus, we're given the power once again to be obedient to God and to love our neighbor. We're set free to serve a greater master and once again experience the power to love someone else. The cross calls us to surrender the idol of self-interest and enables us to finally say to God, "Thy will be done."